Spring football coverage continues on LibertyFlames.com, joined by Offensive Coordinator Joe Dailey. And Coach, 1 week into it, how's it going so far?
It's going well. We've had 2 practices so far. Guys been flying around, having a bunch of fun. We got to change these guys' thoughts, actions, and habits, and that's what spring football is for. And so they've been trained to do things a certain way, and we're trying to retrain that and get those guys to do it another way. But it's been fun so far.
At first practice I was at, there was a lot of things going on. How confusing is it for everybody on that first day? And at the end of it, how do you evaluate the first day of practice?
Well, you got a lot of new pieces to the puzzle, and you've removed some old pieces and added some new ones, and now we got to kind of reassemble the puzzle, and we got what we need puzzle piece-wise. It's just getting those guys in the right spot. And so the first 2 or 3 days is going to kind of be chaotic, but we're still organized.
Sure.
It's just about getting those guys to be organized well amongst the chaos.
How about the coaches stations that you guys did during the winter conditioning to kind of prepare these kids for spring practice? And did you have a sense after watching the first couple of workouts of spring practice to know, wow, we did see some development from what we saw in those coaches stations?
Yeah, you want to measure a number of things, but a young man's physical athletic ability when we first got our hands on him, and then every day since, the kind of progress he's made, and his conditioning. And I think that we've made some progress with our guys athletically and, work capacity-wise, and we can definitely see that, in the first 2 days of spring ball.
One of the storylines that is going to be a headliner up until the first game in early September at Virginia Tech is the quarterback position and the competition there. You've got 3 kids right now competing for reps, and don't break down each one individually unless you want to, but how has that gone? And you always start in the meeting room with these kids and how impressive you are with every one of them. So again, we are in mid to late March, but what's the process been like developing those guys?
Well, 2 of the young men, Stephon Mosh and Bo Swanson, have had for going on 3 seasons now. So they're well-oiled or well-seasoned in how I train, quarterbacks. And they've done a phenomenal job of continuing to press themselves and, learn the new modifications to the system. And then Rudyier, who just joined us this past January, has done a phenomenal job of transitioning from the high school, landscape into the college landscape. And he wasn't really exposed to the same things that we do offensively. And so he's done a phenomenal job himself of making that transition.
And then you'll get Buckshot coming up here during the summer months, another quarterback that you signed back in February. How about for you and running the offense right now? What are you trying to do to kind of get your feet wet and kind of put your stamp on what this offense might look like?
Well, I like to say that I want to identify who we can and can't rely on in specific situations and only allow those guys to play and perform in their areas of comfort and confidence. And whatever they can't do well or not so sure with, we don't put those guys in those scenarios.
Right.
And so, your best players and your worst players play their best when they're confident. So we have to find a way to get those guys in their comfort zone, their confidence zone, so that they can play well.
Couple months to get that done, but September will be here before we know it. Joe Dailey, we appreciate the time.
Yes, indeed. Thank you for having me.
That's quarterback coach Joe Dailey. Stay tuned for more Liberty football coverage on LibertyFlames.com.